beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. Thank you very much for always finding time in your busy schedule to come to my channel to see my videos each time I post new videos in my platform. Welcome to Nurse Yubi's Desk, where I give information concerning health, but with greater regards to cancer. Okay, today we'll be talking about the signs and symptoms, the warning signs of cervical cancer, the things you see or the things you notice that needs you to run to the hospital to see a doctor. Okay, so like I used to say, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to this channel by clicking on the subscribe button right below this video, and also turn on the notification bell so that you'll be getting notifications each time I post new and helpful videos. And if you're new to this platform, you're very welcome. It is a platform where I share ideas concerning cancer, and then with a broad emphasis to health. Okay, but in this very platform I talk a lot more about cancer. Do you know why? Because in this part of the world, a lot of people have very feeble idea when you're talking about cancer, the things that causes cancer. You see a lot of people even have myths, and misconception concerning cancer. So you hear so many people say that cancer doesn't have a cure. You hear a lot of other people say that cancer is from witchcraft or it is satanic. No, this is actually caused by some mutational changes in our body, in our cells, the cells of the body, the tissues that make up the body. It is not satanic, it is not evil. Okay, it's just so unfortunate. So this is why I came up with this idea of enlightening people in my channel about cancer, so that we'll be better informed. Since they say that knowledge is power, I want to give our women, I want to give our husbands ideas and the things they need to note, and to know that something abnormal is happening somewhere in a part of the body. Okay, fine. We'll go to number one sign and symptom that you notice when you're talking about cervical cancer. This is when you're talking about abnormal bleeding. Okay, we have bleeding like when you're talking about menstruation, but in this one we are talking about when the bleeding is abnormal, it's unusual. Okay, what do you note out when you're talking about abnormal bleeding? Number one, we have 4 points under this bleeding. Okay, number one, we're gonna be talking about bleeding before or during or after sexual intercourse with your partner. Okay, you notice you're discharging, you have a bloody discharge during intercourse with your partner or after intercourse with your partner. It is very abnormal and unusual. Okay, so it's a warning sign that make you to know that you need to run to a medical facility and get screened to know why this is happening. Okay, number two factor under bleeding is when you're talking about heavy menstruation. Okay, you know yourself, you know how you bleed, the quantity that comes out during your menstruation. Okay, but in this particular one, you find out that you're bleeding heavier than normal, and then you're worried. Yes, don't just stay at home and be worried. Please walk up to someone, talk to a doctor, talk to a nurse around you, and then you will know that you're gonna be sorted out. Okay, and you're gonna be fine. And then the next factor under bleeding is when you're bleeding in between your cycle. It is very unusual. Okay, it is not supposed to happen like that. You're supposed to know your cycle and know when something abnormal is happening, so that you run to somebody, you talk to somebody, and get screened, and then get properly managed in time. What's the fourth one? The fourth one is when you're talking about bleeding after menopause. Okay, when a woman approaches the age of menopause is when you're talking about the age 45 years to 55 years. Some people have early menopause, some have late menopause. Okay, so that's why we give it a range. There is no static year that a woman is supposed to reach menopause. But after your menopause, you're not supposed to bleed again. Sometimes you notice spots in your early menopausal age. You'll be having some spots, but after a while it's supposed to stop and disappear. But you keep noticing that you're bleeding, maybe after your menstruation has stopped. you notice that you come to start bleeding again, walk up to someone, walk up to a doctor, get screened so that you get better managed, because that is very, very abnormal. The second sign that a woman must always notice when something is happening below that site is when you're talking about the lower abdominal pain. In this, when we're talking about pain, it comes in different form. Some people experience excruciating pain. Some people experience cramping. This pain may come when you're menstruating. This pain may come when you're having intercourse with your partner. It is unusual. So you report and get managed on time. Get screened on time so that it will not be complicated. The number 3 sign that you notice when you're talking about cervical cancer is when you're talking about strange discharge. Okay, normally a woman, you have some discharge from that other part of the body, but when this discharge is strange is when, let me tell you the things you notice when you're talking about a strange discharge. It will be odorous. It will have some foul smelling odor. Okay, the color would change. It could be purulent. You notice it's like pus. Something is coming out. It's not a normal discharge, whitish discharge a woman is supposed to have. Okay, so this is something you report. Okay, so the discharge could be heavier than normal. So these are the things you look out for, and then talk to somebody about it. And then the 4th one is our fatigue. When we are talking about fatigue, yes, you would say, what is this fatigue about? Okay, fine, I'm going to tell us how you know that there is fatigue. Other things stresses us, okay? But when you're fatigued is when you get exhausted on time. When the words that we use to describe fatigue is when you're weak, you're exhausted, you're unnecessarily tired over usual activity, you're sluggish, you can't carry out the things you used to do, your usual chores anymore, your usual activity, you'll get tired on time. Okay, so this is when you're talking about fatigue. So you walk up to a doctor, you get screened. There's so many screening methods. You can have a lab, they take your blood sample, run some tests, check your blood levels. Okay, because these things also would be the yardstick to know that something wrong is happening down there. So we go to number 5 and 6 because they come hand in hand. Okay, this is when you're talking about the bowel and bladder habit. In bowel and bladder habits is when I'm talking about when you to visit your loo and when you want to pass urine in your voiding. Okay, so because the cervix and the bowel, this is your rectum, this is your bladder, and the cervix is in between. Okay, your reproductive organs are in between your bladder and the bowel. Okay, so when there is a tumor, when there is something abnormal happening in between these other 2 channels, what is going to happen is that you would either experience constipation more often, or you're voiding, you're going to the toilet more often, or you have to run to the toilet, or you have to just run to go and urinate because you always have this urge to urinate. You have urinary frequency, you have urgency, you want to just go so that you won't void in your panties. So these are the things you look out for. And then sometimes you experience pain when you want to void. Okay, so you report because it is really, really abnormal. Okay, then we go to number 7, which is in fact, this is the most sensitive one, the abnormal pap smear result. It is quite unfortunate, okay, but it can still be managed if it is noticed on time. And then you notice after they've taken your pap smear to the histology department for test. After the test, there is an abnormal report coming out that your human papillomavirus, or there is mutational changes in the cervical cells. Okay, let me further explain. In the cervix, we have 2 basic cells there. We have the squamous cell and the columnar cell. So, and there is a particular junction where these 2 cells come to meet together. We call it the squamocolumnar junction. At this junction is where the human papillomavirus go to lodge to cause this changes, this transformation, this abnormal transformation. So when the test result is out and it's positive, you can still be managed. Like I used to tell us that cancer is not a death sentence. In fact, a lot of people have come in and then they've gone out. But it's always so unfortunate in this part of the country where information is not given to us in time, where we even have very, very few facilities that look out for or that manages these cases. I don't know, it's quite unfortunate. But I still want to urge us to walk up to a facility with this little idea I give to us today. Get screened and get managed on time, and you're gonna be fine. Don't panic, don't be scared. Cancer is just a word, it's just a sickness. You would get better managed and get treated on time, and you're gonna be fine. Thank you very much for always watching my videos, and then we are going to wait for the next video. And I want to also remind us that since this week was cervical cancer week, we have the 4th, which is going to be the World Cancer Day, and Nurse Yubi is going to still give us information that we need pertaining to cancer. Thank you very much again. Thumbs up to my videos and drop comments or contribution down below this video in the comment box, okay, so that I would get it and then get to know where we have been left out, okay. Give this video a thumbs up if you benefit from this video, and help me share this video also to your friends, your loved ones. Introduce my channel to someone because it may help someone out there that needs this information. Thank you very much. Stay tuned and always come to my channel to get better informed on time. Bye.